Hello and welcome everyone. A very warm good afternoon to those who have joined the session. I welcome you all to Civil Services Achievers Point. Today we are going to start with the current affairs analysis of 2nd August 2021. We'll be just waiting for a few seconds more for some people to join in, and we'll be immediately going ahead with the current affairs analysis from the Assam Tribune, 2nd August 2021. And you know that we have been covering the daily analysis of newspaper Assam Tribune, and you are also getting the PPTs and the notes in your WhatsApp groups. So if any one of you have not joined our WhatsApp groups, do join the WhatsApp group. The link has been provided in the description box of this video. We have also launched very exciting courses for the upcoming prelims, named as Prelims Capsule Booster course, which is available in our app. You can download our application from the link given in the description box, both from the Playstore as well as the Apple iStore. At the same time, we also have the Prelims Foundation course. The mains courses are going on. The test series, the study materials, and everything is available in our application, CSAP app. Do download the app and go through the course materials in the store section. And if you want to subscribe any of the courses, if you have any doubt, you can always call us in the given number. Moving ahead with today's contents. Today we'll be discussing about the Muslim Women Rights Day, important one from the governance perspective and the Indian society perspective of main syllabus GS1 and GS2. The second news, we have World Heritage Committees adds 34 new heritage sites. We had already covered the new sites added under UNESCO World Heritage Sites, I think on 28th of last month, where we discussed about Dholavira. And after that, we have one editorial which we need to discuss, that is the implications of US withdrawal from Afghanistan, and then a few prelims pointers will be there for further discussion, and along with the MCQs of today's date. So I hope it's good to begin and you all are with me. So if you can hear my voice, please do write yes in the comment section. So any one of you can write yes in the comment section, and let's move ahead with today's discussion of the Assam Tribune analysis of 2nd August 2021. All right. All right. There's a small problem in the connection. I think I should be back. All right. Yeah, it's working fine now. Okay, so good to go. Thank you, Ankurima. So this topic, Muslim Women's Right Day, is important from GS2 perspective, that is their governance, constitution, and along with social justice. And along with that, GS paper 1 also have the problems related to women empowerment and everything, and developmental issues in under Indian society. So this topic can be also added within GS1 paper. of your main syllabus. Okay, so why it is in news? Because 1st of August has been recorded as Muslim Women Rights Day. So please try to remember this particular date. It is very important, and very soon, within today or tomorrow, I am going to bring up the important days topic under our prelims booster course, which is a very, very important topic. So 1st of August has been recorded as the Muslim Women Rights Day in the country's history to mark first anniversary of the passage of Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act of 2019. Okay, so you know that earlier under the law of Islam or the Shariat law, the personal law for the personal matters, we didn't have any statutory law in a country. For example, we have for the other religion. So if there was a case of divorce, it was simply the triple talaq, a practice which was going on and which had to be a problem which created more vulnerability among the female section or the gender of a society. And a lot of exploitation and a lot of problems that the women had to face because of the triple talaq issue, and it was completely going against the rights of women under the religion of Islam. So last year we all know that law was passed in the parliament, and that was Muslim Women Act for the protection of rights on marriage, and this was passed on 1st of August 2019. All right. So what is triple talaq? If you ask, triple talaq is a practice mainly prevalent among India's Muslim community following the Hanafi Islamic school of law. So please try to remember this school of law which is being used and which is being followed for the triple talaq issue. And under the practice, a Muslim man can divorce his wife by simply uttering talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, but women cannot pronounce triple talaq and are required to move a court for getting divorce under the Sharia Act of 1937. Triple talaq divorce is banned by many Islamic countries, including Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Pakistan. So even in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, which are Muslim majority countries, in fact, there the triple talaq has been banned. But it was going on in India, and it was such a discriminatory practice that it could not be used by women. Okay, for women, if they had to give a divorce to the man or to their husband, so they had to go under the Sharia Act of 1937, which is a pre-independence act. So this practice was followed under the Hanafi Islamic school of law, and we have tried to understand what is triple talaq. Now let's now move ahead to the provisions of the Muslim Women Protection of the Rights on Marriage Act of 2019. And this act makes all the declaration of talaq, including in written or electronic form, to be void. Okay, so this is very important because sometimes the husband even didn't come to the wife to say talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times. They had just messaged it over they just sent a message or an email or a WhatsApp text, okay, writing talaq in 3 times, and it was being used to get divorced to their wives. But now this particular act has made this type of practices, okay, whatever it is, whether it is a written or declaration or electronic form, okay, it is now void, and that is not enforceable in law, and it will be considered as illegal. And it also makes a declaration of talaq a cognizable offense. Okay, so only if information relating to the offense is given by a married woman against whom talaq has been declared. All right, so cognizable offense, I hope you know what it is. Cognizable offense means arrest without any warrant. Okay, without a warrant, or you do not get a bail. So that is something that is called as a cognizable offense, and it may even attract up to 3 years imprisonment with a fine. All right, if you declare a talaq or practice the triple talaq issue. Okay, so a cognizable offense is one for which a police officer may arrest an accused person without warrant. So it is already written here. You can look at this. Okay, sorry. So you can see here that this is already written, accused person without warrant. Okay, so without warrant, you can arrest a person. Okay, and the magistrate may grant bail to the accused. The bail may be granted only after hearing the woman against whom talaq has been pronounced, and if the magistrate is satisfied that there are reasonable grounds for granting bail. So you see here that immediately you cannot get a bail only after hearing the woman, okay, the accused person, okay, or sorry, only after hearing the victim, okay. So the magistrate may grant bail, but the person can be arrested without a warrant, and that is what is meant by cognizable offense, okay. If the situation is opposite, then it will be a non-cognizable offense. So the offense may be compounded, okay, by the magistrate upon the request of the woman against whom talaq has been declared, okay. So the parties may arrive at a compromise if the woman wants to, okay, even after lodging an FIR or lodging the case. So Muslim woman against whom talaq has been declared is entitled for the maintenance and the allowance from her husband for herself. All right, so under this act, so maintenance and allowance is also allowed for the Muslim woman, okay, who is after the divorce. So please see these points very carefully. Because of this particular news, you may get a statement based question in the upcoming prelims exam. All right, and this was already passed in 2019 1st August, okay, and then 1st August has been named as the Muslim Women Rights Day. All right, so the constitution provisions, now if we relate, now you need to relate to your syllabus of any particular news that you get in your newspaper. And here you need to see that we have Article 14, okay, which talks about right to equality. This is coming under fundamental rights, part 3 of our Indian Constitution. Yes, I hope you know this, okay. And the part 3 fundamental rights that deals with the different various types of rights of the citizens along with foreigners of a country, but all the rights are not available to the foreigners, okay. Some particular articles or rights are available only for the Indian citizens, and those articles are like 15, 16, 19, 29 and 30. So you should be knowing all this type of things, because this type of questions may come in the exam, that out of the following fundamental rights, which of the following rights are available only to the citizens of India, okay. Now Article 14, that talks about the right to equality, okay, so equality before law, and so you should be knowing about the definitions of what you mean by equality and what you mean by equity, and from where we have taken these concepts, okay. So that those things should be clear enough for your fundamental rights topics. So if it is not, you can always subscribe to our foundation course, which is available in the app. And this triple talaq was a violation of Article 14, because I had already told you that this was a very discriminatory in nature, because the husband could easily get divorced by simply announcing talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, but the woman had to go under legal means under the Shariat Act of 1937. So this was definitely a violation of Article 14, which is held by the Supreme Court from Shah Bano case 1986 to Sharia Bano case in 2017. So this is how you should also write in your exam. You should mention this kind of cases, because we know that during the Rajiv Gandhi time, okay, because that time Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of a country, this Shah Bano case was the base route, okay, for the evolution of Babri Masjid demolition too. All right, Babri Masjid demolition too, because that time the Prime Minister was appeasing both the religions, Hindu and Muslim. All right, and that is what it led to the Babri Masjid demolition. In fact, there is a deep connection between Shah Bano case and Babri Masjid demolition. Anyways, now moving ahead, Article 25. Okay, now this was what the Supreme Court stand is. Okay, Supreme Court stand from Shah Bano case to Sharia Bano case. Its stand was that triple talaq is a violation of Article 14, and you know that if any act, okay, if any act or any practice is not in coherence with the fundamental rights of the Constitution of India, Supreme Court can declare that particular act or that particular practice as null and void. All right, so you cannot take away the basic structure of the Constitution of India by practicing any particular practice or through the means of some particular act or law or statute. So this was the stand of Supreme Court, and in fact Article 25 of the Constitution guarantees religious freedom as freedom of practice, propagation, and of you can freely practice or propagate or profess your own religion or your own conscience, and like all other fundamental rights, it is subject to restrictions. Because what happens, though we are talking about Article 14, okay, Article 25 says the opposite thing. okay, that Article 25 itself is a fundamental right to religion, where all the citizens of a country under any form of religion may practice or profess or propagate their own beliefs and faith under their religion. Okay, so here triple talaq has been personal practice or under the law of Islam, under the Hanif school. Okay, so under the Islam, so you know that under it the Article 25 will come in conflict with Article 14, because the ulemas or the learned men of Islam will say that this triple talaq is actually a practice under Article 25, and in fact the constitution of a country gives us rights to freely practice and profess and propagate our own religion. Okay, so but we all know that our fundamental rights are qualified in nature. It is having some reasonable restrictions. Okay, it is not absolute in nature. Okay, वो जो भी लिखा है उसको letter by letter follow नहीं करने से, because when you talk about, for example, Article 15, वहाँ भी बोला जाता है कि there should not be any discrimination based on caste. Okay, but in fact even in Article 16, right, but we have reservation for SC, ST or OBC, okay, because of different reasons. The constitution itself has talked about that if anyone is socially and educationally backward, okay, then reservation can be allowed. Okay, it is mentioned that in Article 15 that there cannot be discrimination based on sex, but if you go and travel in a city bus, there you see that seats are reserved for women, so that is also discrimination. But again, the constitution puts some reasonable restrictions and says that on positive note, on affirmative, it will be a positive discrimination if you reserve something for women and children, okay, because they need special attention. So that is what no fundamental rights is absolute in nature. It is only qualified. You can put some reasonable restrictions, and this Article 25 can be put under reasonable restrictions when we see that the women are being exploited by practicing their form of religion. Okay, so definitely this is not something like absolute in nature, and definitely this act can be come into practice. Hence Article 25 is overridden by Article 14, which guarantees the right to equality, as triple talaq denies a Muslim woman's equality before the law. So Article 25 is also subject to Article 15 clause 1, which states that the states shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex. Since triple talaq does not work in favor of women, it violates Article 15 clause 1 of the Constitution. Okay, so it says that this word only actually is very, very important. Okay, and it's in fact Article 15 clause 1 itself says that the states shall not discriminate against any citizens on grounds only of religion. Okay, so just because the religion says, okay, that triple talaq should be there, so that should not be the only ground where the state can discriminate a woman from a man. All right, the ground have to be different. It should be based on welfare measures, okay, or it can be based on positive discrimination or positive or affirmative discrimination, okay, for the welfare of the woman, and only then the state can discriminate or positively discriminate the other gender, so for their welfare. Okay, so reserving seats in a city bus or reserving seats for women in panchayat, okay, or in the future, if reservation seat is allowed even in the parliament, and which should happen at now, so those will be positive discrimination. Those will be for the development and the upliftment of the female gender. All right, so I hope you have understood this particular topic. This was one of a very important topic which can be utilized in any of the essay if it comes on women empowerment, if there is any particular topic on your GS1, or in fact even in governance topic in GS2. All right, so moving ahead to the second particular news, and that talks about the World Heritage Committee adds 34 new heritage sites. Okay, this is a news of 2nd August 2021, and Indian Heritage, Culture, History and Geography and Society from GS1. Now we know that we had already covered this topic, okay, on 28th of July. If you have not watched it, please go back and watch our 28th July news. And there we had already discussed about the sites that was declared for India. Now, this particular news on 2nd August is talking about the sites declared in China, because this time the 44th session of World Heritage Committee of UNESCO has wrapped in Fuzhou, okay, which is the capital of China's Fujian province, with a total of 34 new sites inscribed on the World Heritage list. So even this figure is important. Okay, that how many sites have been added this time? It is 34 and held at Fuzhou, the capital of Chinese Fujian province, and includes 29 cultural sites and 5 natural ones, including the total number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites to 1154. This is very, very important figure. Now, World Heritage Sites, we have 3 types. One is of natural, one is of cultural, and the other one is of mixed. Okay, so in India we have one mixed UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that is our Kanchenjunga National Park. All right, so otherwise in Assam we have 2 UNESCO World Heritage sites, and that is, we have Kaziranga and Manas, right? And after that, this time, after the addition of 34, the total figure of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, we have landed up to 1154. Please try to remember this. In fact, for mains, I'll tell you, in the mains classes, we can learn about your the eligibility criteria. Okay, about the eligibility criteria, that what are the eligibility criteria for any particular place, okay, to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. All right, there are 10 eligibility criteria, and which we will have to learn for mains. It can definitely come in your mains questions in GS1 under art and culture topic. Okay, so this time in China, the sites that has been added is Guangzhou. It is an emporium of the world in the Song Yuan, China. Okay, but I don't think for APSC or UPSC the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of China will come, but definitely we can talk about the Indian sites, right? So you have to be thorough about all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of India, and at the same time the recent ones added. So please refer to our 28th July of news. Apart from that, the Chinese, there is one more, that is a Chongqing Ulipo National Nature Reserve. Okay, so just give a look, but again it is not important from exam perspective. All right, so moving ahead to the editorials, the implications of US withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, this is an issue going on after the US has decided to withdraw its army from Afghanistan. Okay, now this is a very important one, and we should be very thorough about its implications upon India. Okay, what will be the implications? Because India has a lot of stake on Afghanistan. India has a lot of investment. India has a lot of security, geostrategic, to improve its security stature from geostrategy perspective. India has economic perspective angle to it. India has communication angle to it because of North-South transit corridor. India has a energy perspective to it because of a lot of natural gas in Central Asia. Okay, India also has global, in order to develop itself as superpower perspective, also it has, okay, in Afghanistan. So whosoever controls in Afghanistan is definitely going to put an impact upon India. Okay, because after the withdrawal of US, if the Taliban, its impact, its power rises on Afghanistan, okay, it can, and if it promotes a lot of terrorism, it can definitely put an impact upon India's and its interest on Central Asia. So as of date, the final withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan gets closer to its scheduled completion on September 11, 2021. Okay, and that is the 20th anniversary of 9/11 terrorist attacks. So you see, after 9/11 terrorist attack, after 20 years now, this is the final completion date. Okay, when the American troops will be finally leaving Afghanistan, and there is considerable anxiety and apprehension among the people of that country. So what will happen next? Who will look after its security? Because if you see Afghanistan of 1960s, 1970s, you will see a very beautiful place. Afghanistan was developed. It was having so much of culture. It was, its lifestyle, its standard of living was really very beautiful. If you just see some pictures which are available in the internet of Afghanistan during 1960s and 1970s, it was really beautiful. But after that, Russia took over, and Russia also had to be embarrassed, and they had to leave Afghanistan. After that, the Taliban came over, and then USA had to take up, and then again this time USA has to leave Afghanistan with a lot of embarrassment, without being able to control and bring back to its stability the nation of Afghanistan. So there is considerable now anxiety and apprehension amongst the people of that country, that what will happen after that. Okay, and as well as USA and Russia are closely watching the emerging scenario, since it is going to have far-reaching geopolitical implications. And Afghanistan is a very, very important place. It has been always been acted as a buffer state between various major superpowers of the globe, and whosoever controls Afghanistan, it is like the central heartland of Asia. Whosoever controls Afghanistan, it is controlling the entire location of, and it is a very, very important geostrategical location. So what and why is the concern? If we ask, the apprehension and concern are genuine because of Taliban's increasing their control over different districts of the country every day. If you see the map of Afghanistan, majority of the portion now has been controlled by Taliban and not by the state government or by the nation's government. That is very shocking to know. Just imagine a situation if there is any extremist group in India, okay, and they have control out of, suppose, for example, out of 28 states, they have control almost around 17-18 states, and Indian national government is able to control only 5-6 states, or it is having 5-6 states on its control. So what will be the situation in India, right? So similar situation has evolved in Afghanistan, and it strongly denies it, but obviously the state government will deny it, but that Taliban has claimed over the control and overruled their own power. But Taliban's claim of controlling more than 85% of Afghan's territory isn't too far-fetched. Okay, so it can become a reality very soon. And having captured rural areas, Taliban is now rapidly attempting to capture sites and towns. The 2 lakh strong Afghan National Army, equipped and trained by many countries, including India. India has also trained the Afghan National Army. India has also built up its parliament, which was destroyed, unfortunately, by the terrorist groups. India has also developed the infrastructural projects like road, quadrilateral national highway from Jarans to Delaram national highway has been was constructed with the help of India. Okay, so India has a lot of stake and interest and investment in Afghanistan. So India's implications definitely will be have to be looked after, and it is like we have the Afghanistan state government has not been able to like stop the growth of Taliban. Okay, and this is a present situation right now, and there was an agreement. Okay, there was an agreement between the US and the NATO forces are in the process of vacating the country as part of the Doha Accord, okay, which was signed between the Taliban and the USA on February 29, 2020. So this is a very recent agreement, okay, that in the Doha Accord, right, the Taliban and the USA had signed an agreement on February 29, 2020. And as per this agreement, the Taliban had agreed that the country will not be allowed to be used by Al-Qaeda or any other extremist group. Okay, now when we see the term Taliban, okay, now all Talibans are not bad people. Okay, so Taliban can be actually divided into 2 groups. One is a good Taliban and the other one is a bad Taliban. Now the good Taliban has actually promised, as per this agreement, that they will not allow Afghanistan to be used by Al-Qaeda, which is the bad Taliban, or any other extremist groups. Okay, but now again you see this cannot, like, though they have just provided as per this agreement, but again this agreement may be violated in the future time period, and this will be a really dangerous and threatening situation for the entire globe. So the Doha Accord, you need to be very thorough with this, because in prelims you might be getting a question, because this was a current affairs of 29 February 2020. Okay, and the United States has signed a historic deal with the Taliban insurgents that could pave the way for ending the 18-year war in Afghanistan. The deal was signed in Doha, which is the capital of Qatar, and thus termed as Doha Agreement. Okay, India has welcomed the signing of the US-Taliban peace deal by accepting an invitation to attend the meeting for the same in Doha. Okay, so India had accepted the meeting of the invitation. So key elements of the deal was that agreement set out a course for next 14 months. All right. And comprehensive ceasefire between Afghan government and Taliban. So there has to be a ceasefire. Okay, the Afghan government also cannot fight with the Taliban. The timeline for withdrawal, okay, the timeline was decided by when the US Army will withdraw from, or all foreign forces from Afghanistan will be carried out. Okay, and provided the Taliban adhere to their security guarantees and ceasefire. So obviously, Taliban also has to look after the security and the guarantees and the ceasefire agreement that has been conducted. The prevention of the use of Afghanistan by any group, okay, or individual against the security of United States and its allies. So Afghanistan cannot use, or any group or extremist group cannot use, okay, anything against the security of United States, as it was done during the fall of World Trade Center on 9th of September 2001. Okay, so those kind of situations cannot be repeated, otherwise US will again come back and it will show its own might. So the felicitation of intra-Afghan dialogue, okay, so this will be also has to be felicitated. So intra-Afghan dialogue means within Afghanistan, the government that is currently ruling and the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, okay, all the stakeholders, their dialogues should be facilitated under this, and it has been facilitated under the Doha Accord signed on 29th of February 2020. The participations of intra-Afghan negotiations will discuss the date and modalities of permanent and comprehensive ceasefire. Okay, so this, and in turn the Taliban has demanded the release of 5,000 fighters also. So the background, if you see, Afghanistan, the war in Afghanistan was launched by US after the World Trade Center attack on 9th of September 2001, and the US-led coalition aimed to overthrow the Taliban. Okay, now, however, the war in Afghanistan got derailed as the US shifted focus and resources towards Iraq from 2003 onwards. All right, so the end objective of a stable and peaceful Afghanistan began to recede as the Taliban launched their insurgency in 2005. So obviously, Taliban will also not stop itself from, and the US had already declared a war on Afghanistan, and they had also launched their insurgency in Afghanistan itself against the US Army in 2005 after they had recovered, regrouped and refinanced themselves from the sanctuary in Pakistan. Okay, so Pakistan was also helping the Taliban in Afghanistan, and in order to finance their activities. So this kind of activities were going on, and since then the insurgency momentum gain up कर लिया था, and it also exposed कि US का जो policy है वो काफी weak है, and this time US has to leave Afghanistan with a lot of embarrassment without establishing any particular mature form of democracy or mature form of government in Afghanistan. So where is the US superpower might here? If it has shown its weakness. Okay, so US policy का ये weakness इस बार, और जो भी अफगानिस्तान में रूल करने आते हैं उनको embarrassment feel करके ही निकल के जाना पड़ता है. That was also visible. That was initially visible in Britishers. You know, Britishers were also trying to capture Afghan. We have so many Afghan wars when Britishers were there in India, right? But again, Britishers were also embarrassed by the Afghans. The Afghans, Afghanistan को rule करना इतना आसान नहीं है. उसके बाद Russia went there to capture Afghanistan. Russia also had to go back after a lot of embarrassment, and this time USA has to also leave Afghanistan with a lot of embarrassment. All right, so President, after taking over 2009 में जब बराक ओबामा ने प्रेसिडेंटशिप टेक ओवर किया, he authorized a surge in US troop presence कि वहाँ पे थोड़ा US का जो ट्रूप है उसको बढ़ाया जाए with the objective to gain a decisive victory over the insurgency. Okay, so he simultaneously announced the drawdown of forces would commence in 2011. ठीक है, तो वो बोल रहे थे कि 2011 से फोर्सेस को विड्रॉ करेंगे और तब तक हम लोग एक डिसाइसिव विक्ट्री वहां पे ले लेंगे. एंड बाय 2014 द अफगान सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस वुड टेक चार्ज ऑफ ऑल कॉम्बैट ऑपरेशंस. ऑलराइट, तो वी विल ट्रेन अप द अफगान का जो खुद का आर्मी है उनको हम ट्रेन अप करेंगे, एंड दे विल टेक अप द ऑल कॉम्बैट ऑपरेशंस. हाउएवर दिस ओनली एनकरेज, ठीक है, ऐसा एक डेडलाइन ने तालिबान को और एनकरेज किया इंसर्जेंसी एंड और एक्सपोज द शॉर्टकमिंग्स ऑफ द अफगान आर्मी. ठीक है, तो इट वाज काफी एम्बैरेसिंग फॉर एट द सेम टाइम फॉर द यूएस गवर्नमेंट. एंड इन 2014 द यूएस announced the withdrawal of the bulk of soldiers, but a few US soldiers were to stay behind to advise, train and assist the Afghan army, okay, or the Afghan security forces under Operation Resolute Support. So please try to remember this name of this operation. And in 2017, US President Donald Trump laid out a strategy for Afghanistan and South Asia, and his policy was different from those of the predecessors. Okay, as it started that American involvement in Afghanistan was not for nation building but was limited to killing terrorists. So they had completely shifted. Okay, Donald Trump ने completely shift कर दिया कि हमारे अफगानिस्तान को build up as a nation करने का कोई responsibility नहीं लेना है. We just have to kill the terrorists and come back. Okay, but killing terrorists can never help in stopping terrorism, right? Because it only creates more and more breeding ground for future terrorists. Okay, so that was a very immature decision taken for by Donald Trump, And ultimately he called this policy as principled realism, okay, with a shift from time-based approach to one based on conditions. So उन्होंने बोला था कि इसको principle, कि this is the reality and we have to go by this, but again it was a very immature decision. And what is the India stand? India has been supportive of the inclusive peace process. Definitely India is always up for peace process, and India and Afghanistan has been in together right from the non-participation after, for example, after the independence. When India got independence, we were being pulled by two particular movements, right? One was by the one was by the communism movement, okay, led by Russia, and one was the capitalism movement led by USA. And during the Cold War, we had not been non-aligned, okay, and we were carrying the non-aligned movement, and Afghanistan was a part of it. And right from that time period, India has been tried to be very close and in sync with Afghanistan government, and especially Afghan owned. Okay, so India's stand has been always supportive for peace in Afghanistan, and especially Afghan owned, Afghan led, and Afghan control. Okay, so Afghanistan should own it. Afghans should lead their government, and Afghans should control it. Okay, so this is a very good statement. So this kind of statements also you can write in your answers. And the participation of the Afghan government's delegation during the Doha Agreement as well as the upcoming intra-Afghan peace negotiations would be following the path desired by India. Okay, so the deal has reiterated India's commitment to Afghan's pursuit of sustainable peace and reconciliation, as India has accepted the Doha Agreement of 2020. So you need to know the India stand and the implications of, if it goes as per the Doha Agreement, the implications on India will be really positive, because India needs Afghanistan to India has a lot of interest on Central Asia and also on Afghanistan, and also India can counter the China-Pakistan economic corridor through Afghanistan and Tajikistan by showing its interest on development of a lot of infrastructure, at the same time exploration of natural gas and different kinds of energy, at the same time other minerals and resources. But if something goes wrong and against the Doha Agreement of 2020, India's implications on India will not be positive as desired by India. So this has to be looked after, and India's diplomacy too has its own responsibility to look after the peace and to maintain peace and calm in Afghanistan. So possible issues for India, definitely security will be because if you see that Pakistan has been always motivating terrorism and extremist groups in both in India and Afghanistan, and if Afghanistan grows up as a anti-state state, or if it is ruled by the terrorist groups, okay, or the extremist groups or the insurgent groups, so definitely it will be a security concern, because Pakistan will get a backing from its from Afghanistan to carry forward a lot of anti-state activities. Okay, so this will definitely be a security this will definitely raise a security concern for India. And the deal mentions about prevention of the use of Afghanistan by any group against the security of the United States and its allies. Okay, so India is also an ally of United States, and Doha Agreement 2020 also talks about that Afghanistan cannot use any of its group, okay, against the security of US and its allies. So India is also included in this list of allies. However, it is unclear whether India, which is not a US ally, okay, is included in this clause. But see, officially we cannot say that India, like as of now, is not a US ally. But again, US and India is always right now it is at a very positive stand front, and India can be considered as an ally, but not maybe a natural ally, because there is a word called as natural ally in the international relations. Okay, now for example, India, we can always consider we have a natural ally, that is Israel. Okay, wherever or in whatever time period, India and Israel has always gone together. Okay, now US and Israel has been always a natural ally. Okay, so a friend's friend is always a friend, and right now US and India relationship is at a very positive stand front. So definitely, though it is unclear, but we can understand India and US going together, because India, when US has put sanctions on Iran, all right, India has also shown some similar, taken some decisions on similar lines. But at the same time, India should also come out as an independent country without following any of the perspectives of any particular superpower country or any other stand front. But at the same time, whether Pakistan-backed groups that threaten India would still operate in Afghanistan, this will be a thing to look after in the future. And this under the possible issues, definitely we discussed it, how it will benefit the Pakistan. Okay, and sidelining of intra-Afghan dialogue. Okay, the US has committed to clear 5 bases and withdrawal of troops So this priority to future Taliban-led government may sideline the intra-Afghan dialogue, and India's support for the election process for this may be hampered, right? So the point here that we are trying to make is that the post withdrawal of US Army, okay, from Afghanistan, the implications on India can turn out to be very fatal. At the same time, it may turn out to be good. But India's control and India's decisions will definitely matter here, and how India takes forward in involving itself with the intra-Afghan dialogue, okay, and how India looks after the different kinds of interest on Afghanistan post the US Army withdrawal in Afghanistan will be very interesting to see. And some other issues like with the definitely agar Afghanistan government is not able to take control of the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda groups or the other extremist groups, so definitely we can see a surge in the rise of Taliban's impact and the groups, and Pakistan's, in fact also China's, because Pakistan and China is again their allies and they have a game plan to keep India out of Afghanistan, okay, and India needs to treat very carefully and be pragmatic here, all right, because the moment US Army is withdrawing, definitely Pakistan will go and enter Afghanistan, and Pakistan can be backed by the big China, right? So of course, many other countries, especially China and Turkey, besides Pakistan, have been wooing the Taliban for a considerable period of time. And India's biggest concern is that instigated by the Pakistan ISI, hordes of terrorists from Afghanistan. So this we have already discussed, because Pakistan, if it supports the terrorism in Afghanistan, will be benefited to a lot of extent, which may cause a serious threat and security concern for India. All right. So this is what you can see, but there is also some concern with China, and many countries including India, China, Pakistan have been greatly benefited by the US security umbrella, okay, in Afghanistan. This security enabled China to invest hugely in mining activities, because देखिए अगर वहाँ पे security नहीं होगा तो definitely आपका वहाँ पे investments बिगड़ सकता है, और वहाँ पे ये इंडिया ने भी काफी investment किया है, and if there is no like suppose the security or the stability in Afghanistan, so sorry investment bekar jayega, and definitely it will be a concern for all the countries. And China also has been looking after its investment on Afghanistan on natural resources like cobalt, copper, gold, iron, and any instability or any security issues there in Afghanistan will definitely impact the ambitious plans of China and at the same time of India. And China's ambitious plan of One Belt, One Road initiative will be also put an impact. Right. So this is what overall brief we have tried to understand, and I hope you have enjoyed the discussion. And after that, you can always like if you want our hard copies or the soft copies of smart books of CSAP, you can always call in the given number, right? And we have tried to release it at a very, very reasonable price for all of you. These smart books have been created in a very depth and in a very concise manner, which is very important for your revision. All right. So next particular apne desh ko jano, this is about the inking the emblem, and the two-dimensional adaptation of land capital of Ashoka, which is the national emblem of India, was sketched by the then 21-year-old Dinanath Bhargava. Okay, so please try to see this. This is a very, very important part, and the national emblem, and we can see a lot of questions here, okay, and he had done it under the supervision of Nandalal Bose, was a great artist. So you should be very thorough about this national emblem, okay, and for this I have already covered on national emblem. You can check our playlist on YouTube, and under that we have 2 lectures on India yearbook, okay. So first chapter itself I have covered in great details about the national emblem, so please refer to that video if you want to know the details of this national emblem, and this can be a very important question for your upcoming exam, right? Then we have some prelims practice questions, okay. Now this joint comprehensive plan of action, this is a very, very important one. This was about the Iran nuclear deal, okay. You can always look at it. Then some of the Spratly Island, which is again, this is not in East China Sea, this is in South China Sea, Spratly and Paracel, okay. So you can go through it, okay. So please try to practice the MCQs. It will help you a lot in your upcoming exams. All right, so this kind of remains the following cities and country news, okay. This kind of questions can definitely come in your exam. Then we have, you can also look at the rivers and everything, okay. UNESCO World Heritage Sites, okay. So these are really very, very important, so please try to go through it. Answers have been given here. One of the question that we have tried to put for the mains, do practice some answer writing, it will really help you. And the question for today is, examine the significance of a prehistoric paintings found in India. Also trace the changes that occurred in the painting styles during this period. So paintings is a very, very important topic, okay, because a lot of painting sites also has UNESCO World Heritage Sites in India, and since it is in news, you can always relate to some topic of your syllabus from your art and culture of GS mains. So please try to, and this talks about the prehistoric painting. So one site about that I remember right now is about a Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so always try to read and make your basics strong. If you want, you can always join our foundation course available in app, which is available at a very reasonable price with more than 500 video lectures and 3000 PDF notes of smart books, where you will be getting a sufficient amount of preparation for your upcoming exams, both for APSC as well as UPSC. So answer approach, we have tried to put in the framework, okay, because few of the students had requested for the framework of answer, and we have very beautifully tried to put the answer approach here, okay, and it talks about the so how to write the answer, okay. So you can briefly explain what prehistoric paintings are, okay, then you can write about the significance, the changes in paintings, and conclude by highlighting that influence of future art themes, right? So this is how you write your answer in your mains. And introduction, you can write, we have tried to put the introduction, then we have the body, okay, the significance of prehistoric paintings, then the changes in the painting styles, you can go through it, okay. We have tried to put it age wise, Upper Paleolithic, then Mesolithic, and then conclusion, you can try to write about how it had put the influence and evolved during the Chalcolithic age or the Bronze Age art forms into expanding to statues and figures, and that was evident in Indus Valley civilization art, right? So that is what we have tried to cover it up for today's newspaper of 2nd of August. Okay, so next we will meet on we'll meet for the next particular news articles that will be your of 3rd August, okay, 2021. All right, so Biramani has asked, so what happened to prelims capsule course? It will resume from today, Biramani, because I was going through a very hectic schedule in the last 3-4 days. I was not in Guwahati and I had to travel. So you will get the next prelims capsule course today evening. You will get the information in your WhatsApp group. All right. So it is very difficult to study PDFs from the phone app. Please make PDFs downloadable in 30 days capsule course, especially the test series. Bhaskar Bora, please get back to the phone number, okay, 91 that has been put in the description box. You'll definitely get the PDFs in the downloadable format. All right. So don't worry about that. You can get back. You can always call the given number in the description box, and you can request her, or you can always also request us in the email csapassam@gmail.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's meet in the next video lecture. Till then, please study hard, stay safe, and take care of your health and your family members. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.